NRG, so they need to not make those huge mistakes.
So it was like, once it started going wrong, they kind of panicked a little bit.
Yeah, then it just snowballed.
Kestrel has been banned away here by NRG, but Grace was banned by Nova.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Nova banned away Grace. I just don't feel like that's a blue side ban. Like, it's just a difficult spot to, like, it makes it a lot easier for the side of NRG, but it does allow them to pick up this Batiste. Again, we know they can flex the Batiste pick into the captain role if they need to. So this is a pick that Nova's going to be very comfortable taking first.
Yeah, this is something Starboy played a lot yesterday and to great success.
Yeah, NRG should try to get Baron and CP Blackfeather here. Not only can CP Blackfeather poke them, but Baron also has good poke as well. He can also jump out of a bad situation if he's ordained, in case they do try to run the Captain Batiste here. Because if you think about it, if you give a Captain Batiste over to like a Baron and CPPF, that's a pretty strong combination. They're going to go with the Adagio, and they actually have gone with Adagio's Captain more often than carry. And they normally do that with like a Glaive or something, for example. So NRG is kind of going comfort pick here right now.
So I've just been told by production, apparently that game for Truth boosted his average KDA by 0.3.
Like another 0.3 over
that's
yesterday.
a huge jump up just from a single game when you're talking about averages. Adagio is going to be the lock-in here for NRG, obviously, and now they're going to be banning away the Baron. They don't want Nova to get their grubby mitts on that one.
Well, they're also banning it away from themselves because they had the next pick, so it's something that they don't want to pick. So EJ does not look terribly pleased with a Blackfeather.
Yeah, just Adagio is not mobile. He doesn't have a good escape as a captain, as a carry. It's just not good into Batiste in general. He's so easy to hit with the Mojo. That's why, look at that, Baron and Blackfeather are banned, and that's what they needed on NRG side here. So Idris is going to be picked here. Again, Idris can be locked down by the Batiste Ordained. When he does his Shroud Step, he still will get stunned if he Shroud Steps through the Ordained, based on how the Ordained works in ability description. So Idris is actually not as good of a pick because he can be CC'd by Batiste and feared as well. So let's see what Nova's going to round up. But I have a feeling they're probably going to run with a Captain Batiste here because his Fearsome Shade is going to cancel the Adagio ultimate as well.
Yeah, the ultimate coming from the Batiste, again, if this does end up as a captain and you get the Echo coming out once again, you could see it. It's just so difficult to avoid getting an ultimate with a long channel like a Verse of Judgment canceled. Then just going to be a Vox on top of it.
Vox with Samuel probably here.
Very, very popular pick.
Probably go with Samuel or maybe Rhyme if they want to be risky. But Rhyme is a little risky because Lightning Thief can play Sky, so they'll probably pick a Samuel just to be safe here. And with a Batiste captain, it actually counters a little bit the assassins like Koshko or Taka that they could play into a Samuel. So let's see if Duffy's going to go on his one trick Samuel. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely a comfort pick for him, though. I mean, the other option is the Batiste goes to the jungle and we pick a captain. Is that an option here, or is the Batiste just much better in a captain?
I think it's definitely an option, especially if you go for something like a Catherine. Again, having multiple ways to cancel out the Adagio ultimate. Catherine is really good into the Idris, but they're going to take a Lyra who kind of slipped through the cracks a bit here, I think. Lyra is, again, a very strong pick, and giving the sustain in the lane means that the Vox, who would normally lose out a little bit against an Idris, will be able to maintain the lane, and then Batiste, with his already incredible sustain, is going to have even more survivability.
Yeah, huge sustain on this squad.
So let's see if NRG goes with Scarf maybe or something potentially here. What they've been known to play, Samuel, CPBF. And they're going to go with the Samuel here. So I think from a composition standpoint, I do like Nova's draft much better because Truth is on his box. Lyra is very strong with Batiste in the early game against an Adagio Samuel.
Alright, well, the Samuel has been locked in. That's rounded out the composition for NRG. Suijay, you've already said you like Nova's draft a lot better. Bacon, how are you feeling about the drafts?
I like the Nova draft a lot better as well. It's just the way that they play. This is a draft that fits them perfectly. It's something that they can be a little bit patient in the very, very early game, but then once the mid game hits, they're going to have very strong power spikes, and they should be able to take the fight to NRG. And if NRG doesn't clean up their early game rotations, it's going to be another slugfest in favor of Nova.
So do my eyes and my ears deceive me, or do I have two analysts here both going for a Nova 2-0 in this series?
Yeah, just based on how they played, they just they played cleaner. NRG just played kind of sloppy, to be honest. Like they don't have a macro game or plan. in how they're pushing turret and stuff like that. So if they keep that up, they're gonna struggle against Nova for sure.
All right, well, we've seen Nova take the first game. I didn't believe it, but I'm slowly but surely being persuaded to the Nova side right here. We'll see if they can turn this into a 2-0. Let us know on social media who you are wanting to win this game. Hashtag Vainglory8 is where you can get in touch, but it's time to head into Game 2 of our first semi-final here in North America.
Thank you very much, Munchables, and this should be a treat as well. Completely different compositions for us, Scoundrel. And we had a bit of a chat. Everyone's been talking a bit about Vox versus Idris, who wins out. Let's hear from you first, Scoundrel. Since you're the analyst, I'll let you, kind of lead on that one first.
Okay, so I've always felt that Weapon Power Idris is good into low mobility or singular cooldown mobility weapon power range carries, like Ringo, like Baron, something like that. I think it's a bit more skill matchup when it comes to Vox, because Vox specifically is very high mobility, and a lot of it depends on the timing of your resonance as well as the timing of your ultimate, and obviously whether Idris can dodge that with his ultimate and so on and so forth. So I think there's a lot of skill that comes in the Idris and Vox matchup. I talked in chat about how Book of Eulogies actually completely nullifies range advantages in lane. It's one of the things that I do get frustrated about. The one single item that you buy at the start of the game basically nullifies range advantages in lane in a lot of ways, because you can sustain so heavily with it. But for the most part, I think it's a bit more of a skill matchup than anything.
And I would be tending to agree there. I think that, the matchup between Idris and Vox actually comes a lot down to who Vox has as his counterparts and how a fight is started. It's very conditional. It's not a straight, Idris wins or Vox wins. I actually think in a 1v1, Idris probably can win against Vox majority of the time if Idris gets the jump on Vox. Due to my, experience, I tend to find that. But, in a team fight, it comes down to how your captain plays the fight, what your junglers are doing. And if you look at the two different compositions as well, you've got a Batiste here who's going to shut down the Idris if he's not shut downing the Vox. Lyra obviously is going to be fantastic at keeping the Vox alive, probably better than Adagio is to be keeping the Idris alive, although the Agent of Wrath obviously going to help with the damage that Idris can put out. So there's so many different elements, and it's not an easy answer of one beats the other.
I think in this situation, I favor the Vox, specifically for the reasons that you said, because, oh wait a second,
Darboy might be dead here. Yeah, he's going very low. He does go down. It's first blood going over to Bradley. He needed to step up after last game, and step up he did by securing that first blood for his team.
I don't know, Truth has to be super careful in this situation. He doesn't have a Book of Eulogies. He doesn't have that sustain apart from the potions ticking away. Lone Delphi just trying to walk in.
That's a very aggressive move. Lightning T with the Malice and Verdict, not quite finding these shots. Nice slowdown with the Bad Mojo. We'll keep him alive, but now he's contesting his own jungle here. Will he be able to get it? No, he won't. That's going to be going over to Lightning T.
In this situation, we were talking about the Vox and Idris. I think that I favor Vox specifically because you have the Bright Bulwark to help protect him. You've got the Ordain to try to sort of peel off the Idris, and Ordain might force Idris to use an ult in a situation where he doesn't feel like it's the ult, the best potential of use of it. So then you have the follow-up of the Resonance and the Silence, and suddenly Idris might feel dead in the water. So I think in this situation, I favor the Vox just because of that. However, I do like the potential for the burst of Idris jumping in, get the Agent of Fire, so you get the Gift of Fire, then the Agent of Wrath. You actually have a lot of burst damage coming there onto that Vox target on Vox.
Bradley, gonna take a bit of poke here. It's probably worth noting that Idris's ult has many weird interactions, very frustrating interactions sometimes. If you were to ordain Idris and he jumps into his Shimmer Strike, then Idris may feel like he should be able to jump out whenever he wants, but actually the Ordained will stun him whilst he's in his ult, meaning that he loses control of his character and will get popped out randomly in a random direction. So that's obviously very frustrating when you play Idris. So there are lots of different ways to kind of counter the Idris with the Ordain. However, I do think that Lone Delphi is probably going to prioritize Lightning T in most scenarios, so we can try and force him out of his Drifting Dark and try and minimize the damage he puts out. Very aggressive move here by Bradley, will be punished heavily by it, forced to go back. Just trying to hold the wave though for Juan Hernandez, so perhaps it's all worthwhile for NRG.
But already we have the Poison Shift coming out of Truth, so big spike to help him prevent the damage, also prevent the healing that Bradley puts out with this A, Fountain, and B, Gift of Fire. It is obviously the go-to first item. Just we have a chase onto Samuel here. Lightning T will prop the Drifting Dark, and Lone Delphi will be forced away. on this Batiste, and then he's going to have to then rethink about his moves in the enemy jungle. I think something that is also going to be really impactful is going to be the Gift of Fire, and if Nova then sort of moves, that's another Gift of Fire, the Verse of Judgment, if Nova try and then follow up a fight and get baited straight into the the Verse of Judgment by Bradley, large potential for Lightning T and Juan Hernandez to be able to burst a target there. So we saw Flash X do it specifically yesterday, how game-changing the Verse of Judgments could be. Bradley might be able to achieve something similar.
Yeah, certainly, and if the Crucible is prioritized for Oblivion, then that opens up Verse of Judgment. If it's prioritized for Verse of Judgment, then that opens up the Oblivion. So, you know, obviously Nova are going to be looking to block the first impactful ultimate. That will be Starboy's job. It will come down to the carries to block their own after that. NRG looking for a fight, but here comes Lone Delphi, level 6, and he wants in. Lightning T gonna pop that. Oh, that puts everyone to sleep. The Oblivion pretty big, but is it enough to win the fight? The Fountain comes out. Juan, not able to secure that healing, goes over to Truth. With that healing over, Nova going to be pretty happy they have the advantage, but they don't want to fight in this tight corridor. It only opens up to trouble. Truth putting the damage down. Bradley's been isolated, and that's going to be the Ordained stunning him and making sure he goes down. Juan can't find the kill into Truth. He falls as well. Lightning T just about escapes. No, he doesn't. Truth goes over the wall, but Truth takes the Crystal Sentry damage and will be finding himself going back to base.
Massively ambitious move by Truth there. I think he might have just been showing off the Vox wall jump more than anything, but that was massively ambitious to make that move against the Samuel. One thing that we have to talk about that NRG do have, Dalcy, and a lot of it I think will become more apparent as the game goes on. Samuel does provide a major range advantage, especially when you have that Frostburn in tow. So there is a major area of the game that NRG can look to exploit by just literally using Malice and Verdict at range, preventing Nova from finding a good engage on their terms. Because if you're getting consistently pummeled by Malice and Verdicts from Samuel, one of the main ways you want to try and alleviate that is by finding a hard engage. The only hard engage I think realistically that Nova have on the table is the Lyra Portal, or you could have the War Treads into Ordained. But you know, Lyra Portal would be your main form, and then you just play straight into bringing targets to Idris and bringing targets into range of Verse of Judgment. So a lot of unique ways that this team fights could go out.
Juan just about escapes that Fountain, well timed, and able to escape the Ordained there. Didn't want to use his ultimate, would have been a more safer way, I think, to have escaped if he ulted onto his teammate, then his teammate escorted him away. This does open up the gold miner though for Nova, as NRG will push the wave in. Bradley's going to check it out. Oh, Oblivion puts it to sleep. Oh, it's stolen by Lightning T over the wall. That's a huge error for Nova. A lot of gold just gifted to their opponents for no apparent reason.
Yeah, massive error, because they knew they could force the fight as they had the Fountain advantage, and obviously NRG would not want to take that fight. But I think they neglected the body blocking of those Malice and Verdicts, especially the empowered splash damage Malice and Verdicts that come when you have the Drifting Dark coming down. They managed to avoid the major threat, which was the Oblivion across the wall. That's the major one that you want to worry about, but they just neglected that splash damage from the Malice and Verdicts. And wow, Lightning T keeping his team in the running in terms of that global gold advantage, still ahead by about 100 gold at this point in time with that beautiful steal across the wall. And now the Fountain is back up for Bradley, so all of the advantages that Nova had are all now gone.
Yeah, certainly. If that had gone the other way, then it would have been a snowball for Nova. But now things are back on even footing here. Juan, he has completed his double items, now looking to go towards a bit of defensive, as you usually do on the weapon power Idris. Truth going to be prioritizing a breaking point before he really dives into that defensive tree. It does open up potential for a teamfight advantage for the side of Nova if they're the aggressors, and if Lone Delphi can find some key damage onto a key target like this. I'm surprised they don't throw the Fearsome Shade out, just to force him into the Ordained War, or at least force a block. Seems a little bit odd, especially when you have an ultimate from Truth, but he is low energy, so perhaps they couldn't afford the silence onto Bradley to make sure it wouldn't get blocked out. Nova, though, will round the corner, and that's going to be Lightning T, just chopped right down, stayed too long in a dangerous position, and Nova able to punish it.
Something that we haven't talked about, by the way, is that the Shattered Glass in any CP carrier... Wait a second.
Bradley should be okay here, I think. Yeah,
it should be fine. Something that we haven't talked about is how Shattered Glass is good against double CP carry, but also on top of that, how Batiste with a Shattered Glass is doubly good against double squishy carries, because You have the Shattered Glass for the scaling regardless. Shattered Glass generally considered the go-to when you have to deal with double squishies. But you also have the incredible power of these empowered bad mojos that just absolutely shred through both Lightning T and Juan Hernandez. Even with the small amount of shielding that they've got, it still does an incredible amount of damage. They might be losing a turret here. Yes,
they are. That's going to be Nova mispositioning, but they will be able to find a kill in return. A late Oblivion comes out from Bradley. The Fear going to push everyone away here. Nova still have a lot of strength. I think that they're currently stronger compositionally at this point, so this turret should go down. Burst of Judgment won't find a kill, and that's just going to be Bradley losing his life. Lightning T needs to make sure he doesn't become a third, as Truth almost goes down. The one tanking the turret will be able to get a heal here, unless Lightning T snipes him. He's going to get ordained here, Lightning T. Juan's coming in. This could be a turnaround. He's going to go in with a Shimmer Strike. That's going to be Starboy falling. No, it's actually Lone Delphi, and Lightning T not able to keep the damage up. Truth dancing around at the moment, looking to dodge out these Malice and Verdicts going in, but he just loses his life. Bit ambitious there, like his wall jump earlier. Will get himself shut down.
I mean, he seems to think that he can duel a Samuel on very low HP, but the problem is that as a Vox, when you go against a Samuel, you're always going to lose the range battle. So you either have to commit and say, my sustain and my reduction have his sustain with the Poison Shiver win me the fight. He might have been waiting for a Tension Bow proc. That might have been why he was dancing around so much. That's the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, you just lose range matchups versus the Samuel with the Vox. So you need to just commit in that instance. But that was interesting. Left Bradley using the Burst of Judgment. He had just used Gift of Fire into Lightning T, so had got no Gift of Fire proc, so was looking for no stuns. The stuns might actually have changed the fight because Crucible was down, and Truth had also used his Reflex block. So Bradley, by using a Gift of Fire onto Lightning T, who was at 3/4 HP regardless, meant he wasn't able to land any Gift of Fire procs onto Nova, and therefore the Burst of Judgment was literally just there for a little bit of damage.
Looks like Nova going to waltz energy back into their jungle here. Truth, though, deciding to go aggressive for the Treant means he doesn't get the full heal from Lyra. Energy looking very healthy right now. Looking to aggress forward. Delphi gets poked right down by the Malice and Verdict and the Chakram, and look at them coming out. The Frostburn slowing Lone Delphi. He may lose his life. There's the fountain. It comes out, but Juan's going in. Fear goes out, doesn't connect with anyone. Juan, he jumps away, and that's going to be a Burst of Judgment blowing everyone up. Stuns out Juan. Now, Nova looks to turn on their tails as Truth starting to do the work. Chakram rips through him. Oh, has to turn around. Will be able to escape for now, but Lightning T with a drifting Dark Malice and Berg looking to fire some shots. This Gold Miner will be going the way of Nova, as at this time it looks like there won't be a contest. Actually, they will. Juan's going to move forward, but he's not in time. Chakram won't do enough, won't find a kill or a Gold Mine still, so it is going to be Nova finding an advantage here.
Oh, Juan Hernandez. I think actually if I were to go back and redo that fight for NRG, they committed a little too early. I think they could have played on that Frostburn range advantage that they had just a little bit longer to try and force out a fountain before the fight took place. I think Juan committed very early. Gotta say, his use of his ultimate, the ultimate was fantastic to block out the Fearsome Shade and get onto the other side of the fight, but I mean, he underestimated the sustain that a Batiste has through the use of his bad mojo, but B, they didn't have the execute damage necessary. And look at this, he's also gone for a breaking point now. So breaking point finish for him is again something following that Kavalafar did in the EU VG8.
So let me talk about that a little bit, Scoundrel.
Sure.
I know you were just going to ask me, but I've decided to jump the gun. I've changed my mind, Scoundrel, about breaking point.
Okay.
Like, I've genuinely changed it. I used to be a massive disbeliever of it. I thought it was only needed in against certain heroes, you know, the likes of Rona, these big tanky brawlers. But actually, against Vox, it makes a lot of sense. Tension Bow, great, because it does a lot of burst damage, but we'll have to talk about later as Lone Delphi's just walked. Lightning T, sorry, just walked to his death. Looked like it was unintentional. A pause does come out, so perhaps some connection issues, and this will allow me to continue my point. Vox, Idris. Whenever you have those fights, they last a long time. They really do. They never go burst. You know, when Idris goes against a Celeste, when Idris goes against a Scarf, these kills happen very quickly. But when it's against a Vox, because of his kite ability, because of his self-healing from the poison ship, especially when you have a Lyra on your team, these fights between Idris and Vox will last a long time. So the breaking point actually allows the Idris to ramp up at the same time the Vox is ramping up and gives him a much equal footing in the Vox versus Idris matchup. So, I personally used to build a lot of tension bows against Vox, but I've started realizing that actually, especially in the late game against Vox, breaking point is 100% necessary in this matchup, or else late game Vox will just outclass you if you don't have that breaking point.
Especially with the metal jacket finished on Vox as well, it makes perfect sense that this is something that you're going to need to give you the necessary damage to try and go toe-to-toe. My other question would have been whether you would have considered a tornado trigger, but I think given the armor already there on Truth, maybe not so much a consideration to take if they start the game up again, Dalsey. Yeah, I like the breaking point of the Idris. I do.
Oh, Bradley gets feared there. He used the Crucible, but there's a little... it seems like a lot of people don't quite understand the fear mechanic here, where if you block the Fearsome Shade, but then the reflex block wears out and you're still standing in the Fearsome Shade, you will still get feared. So you have to actually move against the Fearsome Shade, essentially away from it, rather than moving with it, if you want to continue not being feared by Batista's ultimate.
Crystal Sentry defeated.
You can also build stacks with Chakra if you hit it, I believe. I believe
Yep.
Chakram helps you build stacks so nice. So if you're hitting a really, really good Chakrams, especially across multiple targets, you can build very quick breaking point stacks on the Idris, and then you can actually use those breaking point stacks to hit a massive hitting ultimate too. It's like almost like an executing ultimate once you've picked up a lot of stacks on those on the weapon power. So I think it's all about timing, about when you choose to press that button, when you've got those stacks building up on the Idris. Because if you built up 10 to 15 stacks and then use your ultimate, that might be enough to literally burst that box out. So yeah, I do like the breaking point here for Juan Hernandez, but he is still going up against Vox, who's already very tanky with War Treads, by the way. Something that we've seen a lot more of on carries, especially of the likes of Baron and Vox.
I definitely like War Treads at the moment as well. We'll have to see how this fight breaks out as Nova's singled out Bradley. Over the wall comes the Frostburn slows, but that's going to be Juan stuck up. Bradley going to get feared. Nova has the judgment, and that's going to be an Oblivion missing as well. Juan dives onto Truth, trying to find the damage, but that's going to be another Oblivion. Oh, they find the kill onto the Batiste, and that's going to be Starboy trying to just finish off the fight. Of course, Lara has damage, perhaps not enough. There is a range advantage here for Juan and Lightning T if they can throw abilities at the same time, but a Scout Trap finds another kill. That's Starboy's second Star Trap kill so far on stream. Loving it. The life of the captain. That's Juan finding a lot of healing, but he needs to re-engage. He can't run away as Idris. You have to fight. And that's going to be the kills going over to Nova. They have a chance to take the Kraken here. Unless Bradley makes a hero play, this should easily be Nova's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they should be able to secure this one nice and easily. And again, you're coming to the point in the game where late game you just feel like Lightning T on this Samuel is starting to have less impact. Suddenly the double War Treads gives them excellent engage to close that range gap. And Truth is one of these Vox players that commits. When he finds a potential kill, he literally commits to it and sticks to his target like glue. And he's been doing that across this entire game, sometimes to his detriment when he thinks that he can take Lightning T on in a 1v1 at low HP, but often to the advantage of his team, where he's able to just literally proc his resonance, run at a target, build those stacks very quickly and burst them down. And I think Truth's one of the sort of Vox players that isn't afraid to commit to the fact that he's incredibly scary when chasing down targets and building up those breaking point stacks very quickly as well.
I've actually been a little bit disappointed in Juan's neglection of Atlas. It is so crucial as an Idris when fighting against a Vox. I rush it every time I play against Vox. It will be my... I'll probably finish it before I finish my third offensive item because of how important it is. Cutting down Vox's attack speed makes this matchup so much easier for you. It looks like Nova are gearing up for the win. Truth hard committing to that kill, but will be able to escape with his life. Will get healed up by Starboy fairly easily. It's going to be the turret falling here. Nova in a very good position now to push for the win. Unless NRG are able to burst down Truth, then this should be GG. And Juan, he's looking very scared. That's going to be Bradley going in, but another great usage of the Fearsome Shade. Not blocked up, and that's going to be an Oblivion being missed as well. Truth very low, but Lone Delph is doing so much work, and he is going to find the kill there onto the Idris. It's only Lightning T left alive, trying to find a kill onto Truth, but he's just not able to. Here comes the Malice and Verdict coming out. Ordained will force him out of it, and that just makes the job so much easier for the side of Nova. They lose Starboy. Truth just dancing with the devil right now. Very happy too because the Kraken is winning the game. Lone Delphi, fearsome shade. Oh, doesn't quite push Lightning T away. He got trapped between a turret, but it is just going to be this game over, I think. We know that Samuel is one of the worst Kraken takers in the game, but Idris isn't, and Juan is up. He won't even bother attacking it. They know game's over. A sweet 2-0 for Nova.
Yeah, very, very decisive. Pre-20 minutes wins. Both of these in this best of 2 going Nova's way. They will find themselves smack bang in the North American VG8 final from a 0-2 to making it to the final in the 3rd week here. What a turnaround for the Nova squad. I love the double war treads as well. It meant they were able to just shovel that Lone Delphi Batiste into land ordains onto key mobility targets.